Hey, what is up everybody? I am here to give you guys another video today, but before I start this video, I want to make sure that you guys check out the Massasoit Wrestling Corner playlist right up here, because that is going to be returning this Friday on September 11th, 2015, and I want to make sure you check it out. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun series that you can do. So this Friday, September 11th, 2015, will be the return and the premiere episode of Season 2 of the Massasoit Wrestling Corner. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys check it out. So now that I've plugged the channel, well, I've plugged the video, the playlist, and the Massasoit Wrestling Corner, and all that stuff, let's get to the video I want to talk to you about today. I'm going to be reviewing the last episode of the WWE, of the show, WWE Jerry Springer Presents Too Hot for TV. I don't know if it's the last episode, it's probably, but if it was, then it was a good last episode, but this could just be like a season finale for now, and then it comes back in a few months or something, so I'm not really sure what's going on with this. And, but yeah, this was the last one, so... And this episode is called Sex Sells. Yes, that's I did say it right. It's called Sex Sells, so yeah. So it's pretty much anything has to do with anything sexual, really. Anybody not really with sex itself, them taking off their bras and panties, divas, and with all the men and stuff like that. It pretty much has to do with anything sexual. That's really what it has to do with in this episode. And I actually like this episode for that reason. So let's... And this is hosted, by the way, by Jerry Springer. I have to make sure I mention that. And the first thing they show is the live sex celebration with Edge and Lita. After Edge had won the WWE Championship, he had his live sex celebration. And they had sex on Raw. Live. I mean, there's nothing I really can say. It's one of those moments you have to see it. I can't really explain it, so yeah. But they said that was like the highest rated Raw in a year, which was cool. For like that time frame, because that's kind of when wrestling was kind of starting to go downhill in 2006. So that was like the highest rated Raw in a year, so that was pretty cool. And then it shows the HLA, which stands for Hot Lesbian Action. And this was a concept because at the time Eric Bischoff was feuding with Stephanie McMahon, and Eric Bischoff was the general manager of Raw, and Stephanie McMahon was the general manager of SmackDown. So they were trying to have competition with each other to try to outdo each other's shows, which I actually wish they would. Which I actually like that they do that. I like that they do that. And the way that Eric Bischoff decided to do was Hot Lesbian Action. And if you don't know what that is, then look it up, because it's Hot Lesbian Action. So, yeah. And then it shows some of that with divas kissing. It shows Trish Stratus and Mickie James when they were setting up their feud. And Mickie James set up the mistletoe and kissed Trish Stratus. Originally, I heard that Lita was actually supposed to be in that storyline, because Mickie James was more of a Lita fan growing up, but it didn't happen. So, and then it shows Tori Wilson and Sable at Judgment Day 2003 after they had the whole bikini contest, and then Lita and Trish Stratus when Lita asked like whose demons lips you're gonna kiss now, and then she says yours. Mickie James and Melina, Victoria and Candice Michelle. I'm not exactly sure if it was Victoria, but it looked like Victoria. So, Mae Young and Mickie James. Yeah, Mae Young and Mickie James, and yeah, Mae Young and Mickie James. Mae Young kissed her under the mistletoe, and he's like, "I'll meet you at the motel." And Mickie James got all grossed out about it. And then that was the stuff. And then they showed Tori Wilson and Dawn Marie. I talked about this in the last video. Dawn Marie was set to marry Tori Wilson's father, Al Wilson. And the only way that she would call off the marriage is if Tori Wilson would have sex with Dawn Marie. and they did it in a hotel and it showed it on, and it was really hot. So it didn't really happen though. Dawn Marie actually says, "How hot was that?" And that's like, and she says that if you've seen the show, that's like what you normally hear happen in the show all the time, like in the intro and stuff like that. That's what you normally hear in this show with Dawn Marie saying that. So that was pretty cool. And then Al puts his foot down because he has obviously that's his daughter. It was kind of weird, but it was still hot. So, then it shows WWE Divas having power over the men. So D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry. This was when Mark Henry was starting his sexual chocolate stage, and yeah, this is when he was doing his sexual chocolate stage, and they tied up Mark Henry like they were gonna have like sex with him, but then they just whipped him, and it was Terry Reynolds and Jacqueline. It was awesome stuff. And then they actually ended up having Meat, I believe his name was, have it be a sex slave for them. And that was pretty funny too. And then he would have to like wrestle a match. He had to wrestle a match against the Godfather after he had sex with Terry Reynolds. And then after he lost the match to Godfather, Terry Reynolds poured water down his wrestling tights. That was pretty funny stuff. Then it shows some hot divas. I pretty much talked about that already. And then it shows some guys, but the hot divas, it shows like Lita, Trish Stratus, Mickie James, all that stuff. Sable. Who else? Pretty much all the divas, probably. So that was cool. And then it goes through some of the guys. It goes through Val Venus and his whole gimmick. It goes through the tag team, the Dicks, which was like a tag team that made Dick references, like saying about how the cocky and all that stuff. It was a pretty funny tag team, actually. Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn. And then it goes through Ravishing Rick Rude and how he would, what do they call it? Pose for the woman. And talk about how all the men are fat, stuff like that. And then Midian. And then Big Dick Johnson when the Miz thought he was gonna get like a lap dance from Layla, but it ended up being from Big Dick Johnson instead, and he was blindfolded and he didn't know that. And then it goes through some of the contests. It goes through the bikini contests. It did one with Mae Young from Royal Rumble 2000, and she ended up exposing her what they call puppies. But if you have a dirty mind, you know what I'm talking about. And she ended up winning the thing. I feel bad for people watching that. When I go to do my Royal Rumble series, I'm going to hate to watch that. And Mark Henry had to come out and cover her up and stuff like that. Mae Young. Wow, Mae Young did some pretty memorable stuff. And then it shows some bra and panty matches between Trish Stratus and Stacy Keibler, Candice Michelle, and somebody else. Just some bra and panty matches. Hardcore evening gown match. Apparently, Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe had a hardcore evening gown match for the hardcore title. That was weird. They did some evening gown matches too. They did one with Sable and Goldust. I think they call him Lana or something. And obviously, it was the one who had to take off, the evening gown. It shows some Tabo Tuesday stuff and how you could vote for what you wanted the Divas to wear. They voted for schoolgirls, and then the next year they have like a battle royal, and then the next year they had a lingerie pillow fight. I'm not going into too much detail because I might want to review these shows in the future. And then it shows Kelly's extreme expose when she pretty much would just, dance and do strip dances in front of everybody. And then it showed strip poker. This one was awesome. And Kelly, by the way, Mike Knox, who was dating her, hated her doing this. But strip poker, it showed DX, which consisted of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chyna at the time. And they played strip poker, which was pretty cool, because this was like when DX was really starting. And DX stands for D-Generation X, by the way. And then it shows the ECW Extreme Poker. And Balls Mahoney hosted the thing. And if you had like the lowest code, you had to strip. and it ended up being a tie, so they went through that montage, and then Candice Michelle thought Maria was cheating, and Kelly even said, I'm an extreme expose, so I might not even be wearing underwear on here, I may or may not be. That was funny. And then Kelly and Candice Michelle thinks Maria's cheating, so she takes off her bra, and then Maria takes off Candice Michelle's bra. And then the episode, it goes through all the moments, but one thing they didn't show was somebody pulled Rosa Mendez tights, and it just came right off. You could see her ass, and then that was it. I know this isn't like the most talked about episode, but some of this stuff you have to see, because some of the stuff you can't really talk about, because like it's not that you can't talk about it, but like you have to kind of see it, because you can only talk like pretty much like when I was talking about people having live sex celebration and bikini contests. That's pretty straightforward. You don't really need to go into further detail with that. You pretty much you can just watch the thing. You know what's going on. Some stuff you had to, but this episode didn't really offer a lot of explanation. You should know what this stuff is. So, yeah. This just shows how sexist WWE is to the woman, though. By having them go through bra and panties matches, bikini contests, just a lot of that's very sexist. It's sexy, but you know it's very sexist because some of the women can put on better matches than the men can. It just shows how sexist they were. I'm not gonna. That's like my complaint right there with this episode. But this is gonna be the last Jerry Springer presents Too Hot for TV episode. It might be the last one ever. It might be the last one for a little while. I'm not really sure. But I finally got them all done. I finally finished reviewing them all. And I hope you guys enjoyed these reviews. I actually have enjoyed it myself. I like the reason why I like to watch this show is I got to look at some of the past stuff from the WWE, WWF, or WWF. I really enjoyed doing that. I know I mixed up the order, but said WWE first, but you know. WWF stands for Worldwide Wrestling Federation. WWF stands for World Wrestling Federation, and WWE stands for World Wrestling Entertainment for those non-wrestling fans that watch the channel that don't know. But, yeah, I enjoyed watching all the past moments. Even if they were bad moments, it was still, I guess, nice to watch them, even though I like to forget about them. It's still nice to see the bad moment, to see the moments, even though they're bad, because then you can look back and say, I remember how bad that was. I noticed a lot of this stuff is from the Attitude Era, too. Which just shows how awesome the Attitude Era was in the WWE, because all this stuff that Jerry Springer showed us was pretty much from the Attitude Era. Not the PG era or the Hogan era, the Attitude Era. It's mainly from the Attitude Era, so that just shows how awesome the Attitude Era was then. But I'm going to end this video off. I thank you guys for watching this video, and again, check out the Massasoit Wrestling Corner playlist up here, because we're making a return with that this Friday, February 11th, 2015. We're going to record the video at 2. It's either going to be off a Hangout, or just we're going to record it, and you'll just see it later, and you'll upload it, and when we upload it, you'll be able to see it. But if it's off a Hangout, you'll still be able to see it. But if it's off a Hangout, you can watch it live. But if it's if it's off a Hangout, you can watch it live. And if it's not off a Hangout, you have to wait until we're done talking about the show. But that's not the only thing I'm going to plug. Down below, you can check out my non-wrestling YouTube channel where I talk about non-wrestling topics, Owen the Talkinator. And then you can check out my CM Brothers channel over here where I talk about both wrestling and non-wrestling things. And then over here, hold on, is my friend James Hebert has 2 YouTube channels. One is over here. It's called James Hebert. He makes custom Titantrons of professional wrestlers and does voiceovers for music and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And somewhere on this video, I'm going to post the link somewhere, is his Weymouth Youth Wrestling channel. It's pretty much, he is holding a tournament, a 32-man tournament, to crown the very first ever WIW champion. And I'm one of those 32 people in this tournament. And I'm going to win the whole thing and become the first ever WIW champion. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.